Namaskar, the other day, one of my students told me that she had solved 40 questions in the last 10 days. Now, that's not a very big deal, because some students can do it faster. But what was important was that she told me with great excitement that she did not use any notes or textbook. While doing those 40 problems, she just remembered all the concepts. Can you imagine? It means her grasp over the concepts must have been really good. And then I asked her, how did you manage to do this? What was your preparation strat? And she told me that she had studied in such a way that she understood every concept thoroughly. Now I want to share an interesting quote with y'all today. The quote is, if you study to remember, you will forget. But if you study to understand, you will remember. I think this quote clearly explains the secret of this student's success. Because when we truly understand a concept, we are able to apply it. We don't have to just recognize and recall the solution. Many students come to me complaining that they are forgetting everything. And when I ask them why that happens, they tell me that they read their textbooks and take down notes from the teachers and revise. Before the exam and still, they forget everything. So now, let me explain to you why that happens. You know, there are two types of learners. One who just by hearts and one who understands. Let's suppose you are a teacher teaching calculus to a class. Now, both these students are sitting in your class. You teach them integration by pi. Now, the first student who just by hearts may memorize the formula, but the second student may fail to remember the formula. Both of them study hard for the exam, but only one of them will be able to answer the question correctly. Can you guess who that would be? That would be the student who has understood integration by pi. And then I ask him, but how can we decide that we have understood a concept well? For that, I want to share another beautiful quote with you all. The quote is, if you can explain it, you understand it. This simply means that if you can explain a concept in your own words, it means you understand it well. Or else you don't understand it well. Because if you truly understand something, you will be able to explain it to others. You will be able to break it down into simple words. You will be able to connect the dots. Now, there are three things that you need to do to understand a concept well. First thing is to understand the basics. Second thing is to practice enough problems. And third thing is to review where you went wrong. Let me explain this with an example. Suppose you are solving an integration problem. Now, first thing is to understand the basics. It means you should know what is integration and what different integration rules are. They're like substitution, integration by parts, partial fractions, trigonometric integrals, etc. Now, if you have learned these rules properly, only then you will be able to solve the integration problem. Just like you, I'd be able to build a house if you and have a proper plan. Similarly, if you don't understand the basics of integration, you won't be able to integrate a function. Therefore, if you are getting a lot of integration problems wrong, it means you need to work on the basics. Now, once you have learned the basics, the second step is to practice enough problems. Only then you will be able to apply the concept correctly. Because if you have not practiced enough problems, even if you understand the concept, you won't be able to recall it during the exam. So if you are forgetting everything, it means you have not practiced enough problems. Therefore, don't neglect practice problems. They are very important. Now, the third thing is review. Suppose you have learned the basics and you have also practiced enough problems, but still you are making mistakes. In that case, you should review where you went wrong. For that, you should analyze your mistakes. It means that if you got a problem wrong, you should go and check the solution. You should understand where you went wrong, whether it was your approach or the concept. Now, once you have analyzed your mistakes, you should correct your mistakes. And to correct your mistakes, you should either read the theory again or watch a tutorial video or ask your doubts to your teachers. Now, suppose you have corrected your mistakes, and after that, if you are not making those mistakes again, it means you have learned from your mistakes. So if you forget easily, it means you haven't done these three things properly. Either you have understood the concept properly, or you have not practiced enough problems, or you have unreviewed where you went wrong. Now, many students ask me, "Sir, we do all these things, but still we forget everything. What to do for that?" I want to share another beautiful quote with you all. The quote is, "The more we repeat a thing, the more natural it becomes." It means that if you keep repeating the solutions, it will become natural to you. But for that, you have to follow the SMART principle. S stands for specific. Specific means that you should not just keep on repeating the solution. You should also understand why a particular step is needed. Second M stands for measurable. Measurable means that you should set a target before you start your preparation. Third M stands for meaningful. Meaningful means that you should prepare in such a way that you can apply the concept. Don't just learn the solutions. Learn the concept that stands for achievable. Achievable means that you should set a realistic goal. If you have never scored good marks in mathematics, you cannot expect to score 100 out of 100 in the next exam. And R stands for relevant. Relevant means that you should prepare according to the syllabus. Don't waste your time on unnecessary questions. And T stands for time-bound. Time-bound means that you should complete your preparation within the given time frame. Procrastination is the biggest enemy of a student. So if you follow all these steps, I am sure you will never forget anything. Now I want to share another quote with you all. The quote is, "We forget not because we know too much, but because we know too little." It means that if we don't understand the concept properly, we forget it quickly. So to avoid that, you should not neglect your basics. You should not neglect theory class. Many students come to me and tell me that they don't need theory classes. Sir, we can directly jump to the problems. Well, that's absolutely wrong, because if you have not understood the theory, if you skip theory class and you just try to solve problems, you will forget the concept. So never ever neglect theory. Understand the concept properly and then solve problems. Next thing is that we forget because we do not revisit. Revisit means that if you have completed the syllabus, you should again start solving problems. Don't leave the chapter after completing the syllabus. Instead, revisit it after 1 month, then after 3 months, then after 6 months, and then after 1 year. And the best way to revisit is to start solving problems. Next thing is that we forget because we do not reflect. Reflect means to think back. Now, if you have solved a problem, you should take some time out and think about it. Think about where you made the mistake and what could you have done better. This will help you to learn from your mistakes, and you will not repeat them again. Next thing is that we forget because we do not review. Review means to look at something again. Now, if you have forgotten something, you should look at it again. You should read the theory again, or you should solve problems again. So these are the reasons why we forget and how we can avoid that. Finally, I want to share one last quote with you all. The quote is, "Learning is not the acquisition of facts. It is the training of the mind to think." So focus on understanding the concept, and then you will never forget anything. Thank you.